Hello and welcome to a game of Dota 2. You are watching StarSeries Season 7, Day 25, Game 4 of 6. And we're gonna see Menace taking on Navi. Navi on the Radiant side, Menace on the Dire side. And of course, I am not by myself for this matchup. I am joined by two people. One of them is Nahaz. You'll be recognizing him from Nahaz and Necro in the chat. He will be providing you with in-game stats and questions. And of course, I have co-caster for this match as well. Baseskip is with me once more. Welcome back.
Hey Shiva, good to be back, and nice to see Navi with their full roster again. I guess we were having rolling holidays for a couple of weeks,
exactly.
So everybody's now back together, and that's good to see. Looking forward to seeing some Navi in action.
Yeah, let's hope they do well, because we are at a stage where Navi, who has so far lost 3 games, cannot really afford to lose another. They are in the top 5, which is good, but they're still one of those 5 that's not going to go to Kiev, and Navi is perhaps one of them, depending on if a team can get an upset against them, because I guess that's what it's going to come down to. They've already faced up against Quantic and KP, and also Alliance. Do believe they've also fought Empire earlier this season already. And let me check. Yeah, they are still up against Rox later this evening, which is going to be a good match to watch as well, because Rox has been looking really strong lately, as we just saw already in the previous game. But yeah, let's see how they do here up against Menace, the Finnish team that has been doing pretty okay as well. Menace, who is playing 13 games thus far in StarSeries, won 5, lost 8. They can't really afford to lose that much more out of fear of getting dropped to Pro Series. But let's see if they can get themselves a win here. Treant banned out is the first ban of Navi, which is quite surprising. But they have seen Menace in action, perhaps. They have been picking up the tree lately. Menace, who's been playing with Tommy for a while now. They have been playing with a stand-in for a while, and then actually they are playing with and a stand-in and with Tommy right now, so they're missing regardless one of their strong normal players, although they have played with Minority before. But the roles have been switched a bit. Tommy is actually the hard carry right now for Menace, with Sifla taking on the supporter off lane normally. By the way,
Okay,
the Slark avatar is there for a reason. If Nuerti gets himself a Slark, it will be a nice game for him, I think.
Cool. Okay, so Navi made the decision to go with this opening Lifestealer pick. Lifestealer is definitely strong, but the draft sort of becomes... It's not super predictable necessarily, but there are definitely trends that you can start to predict from the opening Lifestealer pickup. So Menace, it's very straightforward for them to say, okay, we're going to grab the Naga Siren and the Weaver here, both great responses to the Lifestealer. You know, Weaver means that you can have somebody that even if the Lifestealer is the beginnings of an aggressive tri-lane for Navi, you're not too worried about the Weaver's survivability, and Net and Snare is always great to deal with Lifestealer in fights. So from that point, we're probably thinking, okay, Navi, you're probably looking for somebody to get the Lifestealer into the fight. The Darkseer is going to help out. We might see a Puck or a Queen of Pain or something like that. Puck probably a strong pick here, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Menace ban it, just because silences give Naga Siren and Weaver a bit of a headache. So, I mean, yeah, with the Lifestealer, I'm not the biggest fan of it as a first pick, because there are so many ways to deal with it, and every team has their favorite way, be it Naga, Weaver, Bane, Shadow Demon, but there are interesting things to talk about it as far as the draft is concerned. And sorry to get on my soapbox about the Lifestealer.
Well, no, you're absolutely right, and it's been a bit of a trend to pick up Naga Siren first. I mean, just that one pick counters everything that Lifestealer does, and even later on in the game, if Lifestealer rages and he's the only one with Rage/BKB, Naga Siren can sing, and all of a sudden Lifestealer is the only target there. You can just take him down, and it's an interesting choice for Navi to go for that. Of course, it does have a lot of options in terms of you don't really know if it's going to be an aggressive trial lane or a safe trial lane. Although with the Darkseer picked up, you can put the Darkseer on the suicide lane, Lifestealer on the safe lane. That's probably our safest bet here. Menace go for a ban out on the Chen still, with the Bounty Hunter being removed from the pool by Navi. I like the Chen ban. Of course, it's very strong. We know that Navi, I mean, their support combinations, Puppy and Kuroki normally tried to make something happen early on, and Chen definitely a signature hero for a reason for Puppy. So, strong ban. I would also like to see an Enchantress banned out for that very fact, but perhaps they're more comfortable banning out one of Kuroki's heroes. But no, it's Enchantress that gets removed as well, with a Troll being removed on the side of Navi. Interesting ban.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's still the Visage in the pool. The Puck is still there for Navi, and I mean, I talked about a little bit about the Troll versus Puck 1v1. in our earlier games this evening. And I think the Troll does quite well in that 1v1. I don't know if Navi would be too worried about that, but I feel like the Puck is still a strong pickup, or at least conventional wisdom would dictate that it's probably a strong choice here. You could never really guarantee anything that Navi's going to do, especially in Star Ladder and things like that. It's often off the wall. I think we had a Dendi Invoker last night,
true.
so they're always doing interesting stuff. But no, it's just going to be the Puck here.
Yeah, you already mentioned how strong he was, so a good pickup. Still Visage made it through the banning stages and gets picked up by Menace here. Of course, for people wondering why Menace has started out with 0-0-0 bonus time, it's because they were so late. Was of course due to them playing still in the EMS Cup. But there are penalties, and if they would be even more later, they would have been getting a death win. Death loss rather, obviously, with Navi getting the death win. But indeed, the bonus time removed because of that. There still is the Slark, as said, Noerti has that as an avatar for a reason, so no surprise there. Last time we've seen him on the Slark, he actually went on the off lane, as Slark is one of those heroes that doesn't really need that much to get himself ahead. So if he has an okay suicide lane, if he even gets some farm, he is going to be able to dominate. I mean, I think everybody who's played Slark knows how sometimes annoying it is to hit your pounces. I don't think I've seen Noerti missing a pounce, maybe once only, and I mean that's an art in itself.
Yeah, and it's a really nice pickup here as well for Menace, just because showing it now means that Navi have to be a little bit more restricted in what kind of supports they take, because if you don't have the right kind of support, then you can't really zone the Slark out of the lane, because he's similar to Clockwork in the way that if you send a single support to go and deal with him, and he's level 3 or something like that, the support can actually end up dying. The Slark has the power to actually fight a lot of supports in a 1v1 situation. So Navi will end up taking the Enigma here. Not the best against Naga Siren, but Team Menace, not with, I mean, aside from the song, don't really have any obvious ways to get rid of it. And Navi just looking a little bit greedy. Offlane Darkseer, jungle the Enigma, farm the Puck, Lifestealer spot. One last support. Rubik's going to be banned because it's one of Kuro's best heroes. And yeah, we'll see what Menace can get done here. The offlane Slark, I'm not a huge fan of it. I mean, he can have trouble and can have trouble catching back up if you don't manage to grab a couple of towers. But Menace with a pretty solid lineup on the whole. And definitely looking forward to seeing how it plays out.
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, it can be up against the Puck as well, I think, Slark perhaps, but I mean,
oh yeah, not a terrible matchup either, yeah.
Yeah, but it will really depend on what those Navi think that Slark is going to be doing, because of course it will depend on if they ban out solo lane heroes for offlaners, or if they're banning out a solo mid up against that Puck. It is a Doom that they removed from the pool. We have seen Doom on off lanes before, Doom on safe lanes before as well, as of course the aggressive tri-lane potential for Menace is definitely there. And perhaps even they want to send Slark on a safe lane, aggressive tri-lane with the Weaver and still pick up a mid hero up against the Puck. By the way, Templar Assassin, for example, still in the pool, which would be a win up against the Puck, based purely on heroes, of course, not on player skill, because that can definitely change things around. But based on heroes, there's still a couple of counters to Puck in the pool that Menace could try to pick up, depending on what they are indeed putting mid, and what they are going to put in the safe lane and off lane. 4 seconds left, no bonus time for them, and they go for a Night Stalker, so they are going to put Night Stalker mid, and their aggression, I mean, if their early game doesn't work out, they're kind of screwed, but if it does work out, I think Navi is going to be in a very tough position.
Yeah, it's a fantastic last pick here against all of Navi's heroes. I wouldn't call Silences underrated against Lifestealer, but when he doesn't have Rage and he doesn't have Infest, he's actually surprisingly easy to bring down. So even if you've only got that 3-second silence during the day, it does help out tremendously in dealing with the Nakes. And often when we see these Lifestealer drafts from teams these days, because there are so many heroes in the pool that deal with the Lifestealer very well, we'll see people diversify their lineup a little bit more and end up picking up that second core hero, that second carry, be it a Dragon Knight mid, be it a Lone Druid somewhere, something like that. But this time around, Navi, the bulk of the damage has to be from the Lifestealer, and Menace, I have to say, with a pretty solid lineup for dealing with that. So that does mean that pressure sort of falls to the Puck, the Enigma and the Darkseer, to be able to get those good initiations down and make sure that the Lifestealer is actually on top of a target in these fights. And Disruptor is the last pick, so... excited to see that.
Yeah, a lot of control coming out from him as well, as of course, if Night Stalker is on the hunt and it is nighttime and you see him running towards you and you're a disruptor, you can just glimpse him back and you have some extra time to get away. Although Night Stalkers in theory are pretty fast and might be able to catch up again. And perhaps he's even getting the silence off that you mentioned before you can glimpse him back. But we'll see how that ends up working out. We of course are in the game, so once again for all the people in the VOD that skipped the drafting phase, we are watching StarSeries. It is day 25 of Season 7 in the group stages, with only 5 more days left to play after this one. Sunday is going to be our last day for groups. And an important game for Na'Vi to win. Same thing goes for Menace. They kind of want to win as well, to not be going to that bottom 4 of StarSeries, because bottom 4 gets in some trouble in terms of getting dropped to Pro Series. We're going to see Menace on the dire side, with Na'Vi going on the Radiant side. And for Menace, who I will introduce, we have Lapiz taking on the support role as a Naga Siren, moving towards bottom lane with the rest of his team. Nuerti indeed playing the Slark as expected, picked himself up a shield, didn't get pulled anything, just picked up everything by himself. We have got Tommy, the carry, who has been playing the Weaver, or will be playing the Weaver this game. Sifla will take on the support Visage, as he has been switching to the support role ever since Tommy has started playing the carry role. And then last but not least, it is Spin, who will take on the Night Stalker. I mean, no boogie is no boogie mid, means Spin mid, and Spin mid on the Night Stalker is what it's going to be. As we're having reconnect back from the Russian casters, otherwise we probably would have asked for a pause, but never mind that. Russian casters are back, and I will leave Na'Vi to be introduced by you.
I don't know how much of an introduction they need, but running over it very quickly, we've got Kirky playing the Disruptor, we've got Havost on the Lifestealer, no big surprises there. Puppy's going to be on the Enigma, we've got Dendi on the Puck, and we've got Funnick on the Darkseer. So I think aside from the Kuro Disruptor, I feel like we've got Na'Vi on the bulk of their signature heroes, or a bunch of their signature heroes here. So let's see how this works out for them. Looks like they've predicted a little bit of aggression from Menace. They've sent the Darkseer down towards bot. And they're already just going to be intercepting the creep wave. So lane's actually panning out a little bit strangely to start things out. And Na'Vi just running this duo lane up towards top right now.
Yeah, I think that Menace is actually going to be okay with this. I mean, it will mean that Nuerti gets some more freedom here on the lane. He is already pulling the creep wave back towards his tower. I mean, he's not getting interrupted whatsoever. Sifla with a double damage rune might be helping out to try and make something happen in mid, or try to help Spin get some advantage here. Just arresting me. Look at the damage already. I mean, no phase shift pick up by Dendi. He only adds an orb. This is actually pretty painful for Dendi. He's gonna be staying alive. Pops his salve. But he really needs that level 2 to get a phase shift to dodge those hits, because they are coming in hard.
Yeah. And mid players complain about, you know, mids being pooled and people getting null talismans and things like that. This game it's going to be complaints, I would think, about the Visage is camping me mid and the Enigma is camping me mid. Sifla's gonna eat some pretty big damage off these Eidolons, but yeah, mid lane is definitely a pretty big battleground, and especially for the Night Stalker. If he falls behind, then he's pretty much done. That's it for his contribution to this game. So anything that Menace can do to give him a leg up is definitely a big deal here.
For sure. He's gonna last it with his Voids for the moment, though. He has got a bottle, so that will help him out. And that will, of course, allow him to last it even more with his Void. But he needs to be making it to level 6, or to minute 6, I should say, without too much issues. And with help of Sifla's Visage, that definitely will be a possibility. As in the meantime, top lane, I like this dual lane actually. I like dual lanes overall because it just adds so much to the value of the supports. Because you're gonna get more experience faster in your supports, of course, because you're sharing the experience on the lane with the two of them. They're not really shutting down Tommy though. Tommy is getting 6 last hits. He has been forced to last hit under his tower, which is maybe slightly annoying, but he is not being shut down as hard as he might be. And maybe with the Night Stalker haste rune, he's actually running top. There is a ward though for Na'Vi. They realize this is happening, but it might be too late, because he is mighty fast. In comes a Void. There's no silence yet up on Kuroki. And actually, Spin just decides, you know what, that's not worth it. I want to go back to mid. I want to wait until it's nighttime. Can't do it without nighttime. Fuck off. Sorry.
It's a clever title. I'll
Yes.
give him that. So, a little bit of a man fight going on, but Spin's going to get the better of it, and he's got a haste rune. Going back to that point about the supports, I definitely agree, and it's a really nice thing to have the Enigma in this game, because it means that Disruptor can soak up a bunch of experience from the lanes and get all of those levels. And he is a support that needs a lot of levels. He's not really that great tri-lane versus tri-lane, but if you can get up the points in the kinetic field, you can get up the points in the glimpse, then he's definitely looking to have a big impact in this game. So a highly leveled disruptor, definitely something to look out for here. And still pretty passive on the whole for the lanes at the moment. Everybody's just soaking up experience. There's not a whole lot of kill power going on. Just some harassment. And it is favoring Na'Vi at the moment. Lead 4 farmers all are on their side. So Menace might have to start mixing things up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Na'Vi has got basically 4 heroes that they're getting farm upon, while there's just 3 lanes for Menace. And even though they're getting farm on all 3, it's not as much as Na'Vi is getting. And on top of that, Na'Vi, as you said, I mean, they have 4 farmers. Because Puppey is, of course, free farming in the jungle, and Enigma, being the fastest jungler out there, is definitely going to make good use of that jungle that he's got all to himself. Actually, might be able to get first blood here. Sifla goes trying to get some extra speed up with the Grave Shield, gets some Malefice on his face, though. The Iron Shell hurting a lot. There's no boots. I think this is going to be the first blood. Boom. There you go. Funnick takes it home, gets himself the first kill of the game, and basically Sifla has been trying to roam around, trying to help those solo laners, the bottom as well as the mid, has just made it more difficult for the solo, for at least the bottom solo lane, because right now Nurti, I mean, he is now up against Funnick, who managed to get himself first blood. A lot of experience, a lot of gold.
Yeah, and he's now level 5 as well. And even before that death, the lane wasn't really playing out as Menace would have hoped. It was 2v1, but the Darkseer still had control. He had an Ion Shell up the whole time. And we even saw this moment where Menace kind of threatened that they were going to go in on Funnick, but Funnick realized, look, I've got 2 Ion Shells. I'm standing next to my creeps. If you guys try and kill me, I'm just as likely to actually end up killing you. So Funnick's playing the lane very, very well. And now Menace are just going to completely switch things up. Don't want to have to deal with the Slark against the Darkseer anymore, and just fishing for some slightly more favorable matchups here.
Pun intended. I mean, we have a Naga, Siren,
Yes.
and a Slark on the same team, so fishing for some better lanes. They now have indeed Norty sitting on the top lane farming up, Tommy on the bottom lane up against that Darkseer, as you mentioned, and it should be still okay for the Weaver. He has not been able to get as much farm on the top lane anyway, as much as he would want to, but I mean, right now he's not even being shut down as hard on this bottom lane. Of course, the lane was pushing in when he started to get there.
Spin on mid.
Ooh, might be in some trouble indeed. Gets opened up upon a Vost coming in to try and take him down, and successfully so. Dendi getting himself an advantage in the mid lane, as he already had one, of course. He was 26-13, with the Night Stalker sitting at 17-1. And this is a very important pick-off, because in about 10 seconds time, we're gonna have ourselves nighttime. And Night Stalker is gonna be dead when that happens, or at least not on the lane, not level 6. He's already gonna be behind. In the meantime, Tommy, maybe some harassment here up on Funnick, who's gonna be able to surge himself away. I mean, this tower taking a lot of harassment from the Eidolons as well, with Puppey coming out of the jungle, and he has got a black hole. So the moment that Tommy shows himself, I think that Puppey is not gonna hesitate, goes for a black hole, especially if he would have Eidolons up. That would be resulting into a kill.
Yeah, so Tommy needs to be very careful, and like you said, it's nighttime, but Spin is unfortunately, well, he's now just level 6, but he really wants level 7, he really wants his urn, and it's worth keeping a very close eye on this Night Stalker at the moment, because this first nighttime is going to dictate a lot of his game from this point forward. I wouldn't mind seeing him sit mid for maybe level 7, but from there, really needs to go and get something done. Even if he can convince his supports to buy a couple of sentries and try and get some D wards going on, just in case Na'Vi are set up defensive wards to try and spot out the Night Stalker, then that would be great.
Oh, they find Kuroki. The Void, the Silence already there, looking for the last hit for Spin. Oh, nice Dream Coil. Doesn't matter for Kuroki, though. Might matter for Lapis, however, and he indeed gets picked up. A 1-for-1 trade, but maybe if Ozo ranges just in time to get rid of that Soul Assumption. Still tries to run for it, and comes another Soul Assumption. That's going to be enough for the kill. Sifla from long range, making it happen. A lot of mana used, but worthy for Sifla, indeed. And that's going to be at least a favorable trade for Menace, and they really need this. This is their time. This should be their moment to get ahead.
Yeah, they need to get so much out of this first night for the Night Stalker. If he falls behind, again, they are in really big trouble, because Tommy's doing okay in terms of farm, but Navi's core heroes are just doing fantastically, and 3-man smoke gank on mid. They're looking to shut down Spin however they can.
Oh, black hole used for that as well. Is it enough though? He might. Nah, it's enough. It is enough. How could I ever doubt that? Sifla not able to help out. Too much harassment coming out. Na'Vi making sure that the one hero that is indeed supposed to be getting some play here for Menace gets shut down. And I mean, the one hero, I'm also saying, Slark, I mean, he needs to make something happen as well. And he actually has got enough to go for treads and perhaps gets himself a perma shield and start roaming around and get kills. But for now he's getting free farm, so why would he give that up?
Yeah, I mean, his team has given him space, but he needs to pay it forward from this point, because, you know, Slark and NS roaming around the map, it's a pretty potent ganking duo, but if they're just going to sit back and farm, then Na'Vi will continue to outstrip them, so they have to keep trying to get stuff done here.
Yeah, they're going to try to
and
go
they'll find
for
Kuro
Kuroki.
again.
Pounds hits, and that's going to be another pick-off, another death on Kuroki. And perhaps even a kill on the tower, which would give them some extra gold, of course. And I mean, as long as they're getting gold somewhere on the map, extra gold than what Na'Vi is getting, that is, they're doing okay. In the meantime, though, it looks like Na'Vi wants to counter-push this, and they have a tier 1 tower already sitting on very low HP, and then Puppy indeed will take that with his Eidolon. So, towers in the end getting exchanged. Yeah, the tower will drop here on the top lane as well. So, not as favorable for Menace as you might think. They used 3 heroes to take the tower down, while there were only 2 needed for Na'Vi on the bottom lane. In the meantime, we have a Vos sitting silent behind the or next to the tier 1 tower mid, even though he gives up. Patience is a virtue, but no virtue that Vos has apparently. Moves back, gets himself some more farm, perhaps in the jungle. As we do have a Blink Dagger ready on Puck. And that will be, of course, the start of Na'Vi maybe being a bit more aggressive as well.
Na'Vi definitely have some opportunities to get some infest ganks going on if they want them. Wait around for the black hole to be up. I think the bigger timing is also to manage to get their mech up, but they've almost got that as well. And mech and blink, especially as we move out of this first night, that's where Menace have to be a little bit worried, and that's where they have to make sure that they actually manage to hold on to their tier 2s. I wouldn't be super optimistic about them managing to hold on to all of their tier 1s, or the remainder of their tier 1s. During the next daytime. They just don't really have all that much team fight to deal with what Na'Vi are going to be bringing in.
Yeah, and talking about their daytime, well, it's almost starting again. Spin, I mean, he doesn't have darkness picked up just yet, probably was waiting for level 9 for that, but I'm actually kind of afraid for him that he's not going to get that level 9 in this nighttime still. We're going to find out though. He's still in the mid by himself. Well, he was by himself as Lapis and Sifla backed themselves up, but he's going to join them. He's going to try and take down Funnick. As Lifestealer is having actually a one-on-one with the Slark, Tommy, having some troubles here with the Darkseer wall, and actually that wall makes sure that Na'Vi, or Menace rather, is not going to continue doing that. Not going to continue going for aggression, so wasted rotation for Spin, which is for Spin a bit more important than for the supports. TP incoming from Darkseer mid, actually glimpse back for Spin. Wow. Interesting glimpse. Funny coming in, has not got a wall, doesn't matter.
He's got the mech. He kind of needs to get that. Yeah, the courier's going to go back now. Looks like should be the mech getting shipped out yet. So Na'Vi, they've got the blink, they've got the mech, and looks like they're not even going to bother waiting for daytime. They're just going to go straight in. Havos, interestingly enough, not going along with the 5-man plan. Perhaps he's actually deciding that he's going to go back for a Hand of Midas. He already has the recipe, but Navi's 4-man down mid. Let's see if Menace can do anything about it. They're a much more gank-oriented lineup. They would prefer to stop the push by getting a pick-off and making Na'Vi feel uncertain about actually going for it, but now that Na'Vi are on the doorstep, there's not a whole lot that they can do, and Glimpse is a bit of a problem here.
Yeah, almost in that kinetic
okay.
field, but indeed. Lucky for him, he was out in time before the vacuum hit. That's going to be the luck of nighttime as well. I mean, Na'Vi, as you said, I mean, they can just push up high ground and push down towers, and the only thing that Menace could actually do if Na'Vi is actually on their doorstep, as we are going to have a Vos getting stalked by Slark, was going to Shadow Blade and pounce. Can he actually do this? In comes Tommy as well. Dark Pack trying to chase him down. It should be enough. That's going to be a pickup. Nice pickup for Menace. They have to do this more often though, but this is start off. That's good, of course, the start of the Shadow Blade of the Slark. It's the first time that he showed that item on the map. He went for that before Treads. Interesting choice, and it worked out. It worked out for the better, and well, maybe they can create some extra space with that. And of course, I was talking earlier about Lapis, who wasn't level 6 just yet, because they really need that song to stop the initiation from Na'Vi.
Yeah, they need anything that they can get to deal with the 5-man from Na'Vi. I mean, it's only a rank 2 vacuum at the moment, but the thought of maxed out vacuum and black hole and kinetic field, and well, there's no static storm just yet, but yeah, Na'Vi's teamfight presence is very, very scary, and Menace, nobody can really pick up a mech for them right now, so they just have to deal with the 5-man, and this is the problem for the Night Stalker. He's just sitting mid, trying to grab a little bit of farm.
Oh, Tommy time-lapsing just in time. In the meantime, Phonic gets pounced upon and gets brought down. That's the only kill right now. This is the kind of fight that Menace has to take. And Snare still up on Kuro, who tries to TP himself out but gets pounced to death. Spin getting himself a kill there on this Night Stalker. It is darkness in this realm because he just popped it. I mean, he's level 9, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, so Menace with an opportunity here. They got the pickoffs. Let's see if they can get the tower. They need to be careful not to overcommit. There is still the Blink Dagger up on the puck. He doesn't have a coil at the moment. So looks like Menace will just be able to snag this tower. Havos doesn't appear to have any interest in defending right now. He's just going to apply a little bit of pressure mid and get a bit more recovery farm. So looks like Na'Vi not too stressed about getting this team fight pressure going on. I'm interested to see what item Puppy's going to be going for. I think Force Staff, Blink, Necrobook are all strong contenders here, and he's actually got 3k gold, so we'll see what he's going for. Maybe it's the old school Radiance Enigma, which was only brought around because in Dota 1 Black Hole sparkles and Radiance sparkles. I don't think there's any other reason for it, but
just the colors.
We'll see what Puppy's going for. Yeah, so in Dota 1, when you're Black Hole, there's actually sort of the Radiant sparkle effect around you as well, but then he's gonna get jumped.
Yeah. Pounce tries to orb himself out, still takes a soul assumption. Some Ursa warriors helping out, the familiar's trying to chase it down. I don't think they can be in time though, especially not with the regen rune up on Nenny. That's gonna be helping him out. I like the Snare popping out the phase shift, making sure that Nuerti could actually get the pounce going, but the orb, it was just too fast. In the meantime, Phonic actually getting some harassment on the tier 1 top, which is the last tier 1 still standing on the side of Menace. Menace, who makes sure that Puppy gets forced away. And perhaps they can get Tommy here on the top lane, because he's all by himself, and there's actually about 4 heroes around the top lane from Na'Vi. And only Puppy is around in the mid lane, actually. Not really enough to defend the tier 1 tower, I would think. Perhaps he thinks differently.
Menace are doing a really good job of finding even trades during the daytime. I mean, Na'Vi have the better 5-man, they have the better team fight, and that might end up showing up mid in just a second, but for right now, well, for the time being, Menace are doing a really good job.
Oh, Spin already silenced up. Dream Coil there as well. That's gonna be one Night Stalker dead. Sifla will be the next target, opened up by a Vos and killed off by the Darkseer. Phonic with a double kill, and that's gonna be resulting into a tier 2. I would think in the meantime, Nuerti gets glimpsed, but not before he is actually able to get a kill on the Disruptor himself. Now forced to go back to base. Can't really afford to fight right now, not by himself, not with everybody of Na'Vi sitting there, and it's daytime and Night Stalker dead and all that jazz. But perhaps they still want to make something happen. Lapis is actually ready from the high ground. If they want to go for a song, he can initiate. And actually, he does exactly that. Puppy, though, not in the song, gets himself out in time. So it's just these 3. Nuerti goes for Puppy anyway, though, because he doesn't want to get Black Hole. Oh, the Black Hole, the Blink! His Naga that dies. Nuerti can't do anything. Buyback from the Naga still, though. Nuerti now finds himself Puppy. Soul Subject comes out. Puppy cannot TP himself out in time. He goes down. Looking for the next tower. Can they find Phonic? Phonic has got another surge up if he wants to. Goes for it now as well. Kinetic Field will slow them down as well, but Spin still on the wrong side. Gets glimpsed back. Kuroki still getting pounced. Nuerti gets himself another kill. Double kill for him, but he goes down because Denny jumps himself in. Silences people up. Double kill for a Vos. Denny jumping himself out again. Soul Assumption comes in. The silence there as well from Spin, who's not done just yet. Goes for a Void. Gets himself a pick off again. It is 2-4-3. With the Vos looking for more targets to take down, but actually has to back himself off, realizing that he might be outnumbered. But they did take down the Slark. I think that's one of the most important things there, because that was the first time that he actually went down in this game.
Yeah, so really nicely done from Menace there. They held onto the tower. Nice song initiation. Puppy, it was really, really close, but unfortunately Spin was out of the Black Hole and managed to get the silence off and cancel it a little bit prematurely. But Na'Vi, things are still looking good. They've just got the armlet up on Havost, so better damage from him in the team fights. Menace have almost made it to the second night, however, so we'll see if they can get a couple more pickoffs then, and if Night Stalker can continue to increase his influence. Already, he's been playing fantastically, 4 for 1 for 3, finding pickoffs, making space for the rest of his team, and yeah, right now doing it all relatively undisturbed. And warding all over the map is just crazy right now. We've got Dire Wards deep in Radiant territory. We've got Radiant Wards all the way over in Dire territory. It's a very action-packed game, and it's great fun to watch. And Funny's gonna get jumped mid.
Yeah, Pounce is there. That should be a kill. Actually, Mechanism Search is still on. Might be enough. In comes the slow though from Sifla. Blink away. Funnick showing off his spoils. Blink Dagger for him. Infest into Dandy from Havost actually. Looking for a pick-off and knowing that everybody is mid. This could be turning into a pretty nice Dream Coil if he finds them, but Menace looks to be backing off in time. Even though they don't know it's coming. Spider senses.
They may have spotted some of this, given how many dire wards are in the
True.
Radiant territory. I didn't see exactly where they smoked, but it looks like they suspect that something is up. Nobody's in lanes as well.
Yeah, only on the top lane, Night Stalker feeling comfortable knowing that Na'Vi might not be fast enough to make themselves up the top, and they're actually going for tier 2. Will get picked off. No fight being done for it. Smokes wear out. Na'Vi still mid. They have got the black hole in 41 seconds again, which is actually not that fast, so I'm not quite sure if they really attempt to take a team fight here, but perhaps Danny really wants to blink in with a Vos and see how far he gets. I mean, this is a stage of the game where in theory you would expect Menace to be ahead because of their Night Stalker, because of their Slark. But it's actually Na'Vi that's still ahead in the gold, still ahead in experience, purely because they've been able to find so much extra farm in their jungle. And, I mean, it's not going bad for Menace whatsoever. But you would expect them to be ahead, and they're not ahead. So how are they going to be getting to this game if they're not ahead when they should be?
So they've got a couple of smokes. This one might have been spotted. Again, aggressive warding is going on everywhere. Looks like Roshan is the call. They're very, very close to 2 BKBs, both on the Weaver and on the Night Stalker, which will definitely help out quite a bit. So if they can get this Roshan for free, without Na'Vi doing anything about it, that goes a long way.
They will be able to get the Slark perhaps. The Malefice is there, the Silence as well. The glimpse back inside the Static Storm could be enough, but he still was able to pop his Ghost or Shadow Blade. And in comes the song to make sure that the Aegis goes the way of Roshan. Spin will pick it up. Funnick blinks himself in, goes for a vacuum, gets Spin. That's going to be the Aegis burn straight away if he's unlucky, which he will probably be. There we go, that's an Aegis down. Menace, are they going to be forced to fight to protect their Night Stalker? I think they might be. Kinetic Field is up, open wounds as well. In comes the Piz, nice Dream Coil up on 4 actually. Funnick searching himself out. Puppy looking for a black hole, finds it. Tommy and Lapiz stuck inside. Lapiz already dead. Tommy able to time-lapse just in time. Sifla trying to run from this because Vos is chasing him down. Dendy joining him now as well, and that's going to be a Visage down. Norty now open wounds. They have got the gem, and they will get the kill, or at least a vision. I believe they have a gem actually. Yeah, they have a gem. Funnick has it now. That's going to be 4 dead. 4 Menace. I mean, yeah, they got the Roshan. I'm gonna say it, but at what cost?
Yeah, they got really nothing out of that. The Aegis gave Night Stalker another extra 100 health. He was just so low after the fight, and I feel like the Song of the Siren almost, yes, it secured them the Aegis, but it also kind of gave away the fact that they were there. I don't know if Na'Vi knew that they were, but as soon as you see the song and as soon as somebody gets clipped by it, it's very obvious what's happening. And Na'Vi's team fight is just much better in the 5v5 at the moment. So Menace had they managed to get the Roshan and they'd had the Aegis for 6 minutes, they could have gotten their BKBs and they'd be in a much better position. They've got the BKB on the Weaver, but Night Stalker is still a couple of minutes away from getting his, and this is where things get really dangerous. They've got this nighttime, but Na'Vi are just going to back off, wait for cooldowns. They've still got the advantage pretty clearly in terms of both golden experience, and from there it shouldn't be too difficult for them to just 5-man. I mean, Menace can only find pickoffs if Na'Vi are giving them the openings, and Na'Vi don't really have to sit back and grab too much more farm before they can just get that death ball going and go from there.
Yeah, I think a lot of pressure is on the Slark, who actually gets blinked
Glimpse
back. Static Field, Kinetic Storm. I know I did that wrong.
Just call it the Thunderdome.
The Thunderdome.
Always works out.
Oh well, there goes some familiars. Ooh, they actually lived. Look at that. But yeah, I mean, I was just saying there's a lot of pressure on that Slark to still buy time for that BKB to be built up on the Night Stalker, still buy time for everybody to get their farm up. But Slark right now, I mean, he's pretty heavily countered by that Darkseer with the Gem of True Sight, and he can't really find the pickups anymore. Kuroki is never alone. And that's going to be the one thing that he was, of course, hoping for. There's now still a BKB upon Night Stalker, but the question is, how are they going to use it? Because as you just pointed out, the team fight, I mean, you've got a vacuum into a black hole, into a kinetic field, static storm, I said it right, into a dream call, infest out from lifesteal. I mean, doesn't matter. Your BKBs will be, like, you can put them on, that's great, but you're still going to be stuck in a black hole. And I don't really think it's going to be enough for Menace to have those BKBs. They need more. They're actually going to try. Spin already turned his BKB on, and comes the silence up on Dandy, who already has lifestealer inside of him. Tommy not finding anything with his swarm, kinetic field, not doing anything either, and that's a 10-second BKB charge wasted, and Funnick, knowing that he has to do something with it, jumps in comes the song, Spin still getting aggressed upon, because here comes a Vos with his rage on, Night Stalker still dies, now the song will allow the rest of Menace to back off, Tommy using his 10-second BKB for that as well, and Navi not done just yet, 3-man Dream Coil, why the heck not? Nice black hole puppy, that's kinda didn't hit anybody. Sifla in some trouble, Naga7 already dead, Sifla will be next, glimpse back on Tommy, who is trying to get himself away into the high ground, but Dendy blinks forward, time lapse away, runs the other way around, perhaps that's gonna be a savior, it might be, it looks to be, he is out safe, he is home safe, he will live. Norty, he is so far still alive, he is sitting next to his tower, looks like he is able to dodge the bullet there as well, might still get Funnick actually, in comes Puppy, not able to help out enough. Down goes Funnick. The gem gets picked up, I would say, by Norty. No, not gem. No gem. And it bounces away. Where's that gem? Where's that damn gem? Oh,
it's on Dendy.
Dendy. Ooh, Norty, not yet out. That's gonna be armlet tunneling for a Vos, and indeed, kill still for Lifestealer. Buyback, by the way. That's gonna be Lifestealer still dead. They're trying to chase something down. Kuroki tries to TP himself out. That kinetic field helping out, but it's not enough. Another pick off for Menace. The buybacks proving successful. The Radiant Courier getting picked up in that fight as well. Did he actually bring something? Oh, he only brought wards, so I'm gonna put that Courier kill on Kuroki. But might not have been worth the buyback, but at least they got themselves some kills afterwards. I say some, because they got themselves a Lifestealer, didn't they? Which is pretty neat. They forced out a buyback on him as well, so that he could go back to farming. Menace, holding on.
Yeah, not the worst fight, especially given that it started with a 10-second BKB charge being used from Spin to really no avail. I mean, they did manage some nice play from Havost and Dendy. Havost, as soon as he got netted, he just jumped straight into Dendy. And away they went. There was no chance for Menace to get a good initiation. And Norty's hitting up a gank right now on Avos. Looks like he's going to end up going down.
The pounce, the silence, the ensnare, everything present. Armlet tunneling is the only thing that could save him, but didn't have it, and or didn't do it, or didn't. Well, yeah, he died.
Yeah, but huge props to Norty on this Slark. He was having a just like to remind everybody of the timeline for him of this game so far. He was having a pretty tough time in the 2v1 against Funnick on bot. Menace made the decision to just go and give Slark the free farm. Let him have free farm up on top. He rushed up a Shadow Blade, and from that point, as soon as he got that Shadow Blade, he has been a huge presence on this map for Menace. Yes, he's picked up a couple of deaths along the way, but he's got great participation. He's 10 out of the 14 kills for his team, so I think, yeah, he just want to bring up huge props to Norty. You mentioned in the draft that he's great on this Slark, and showing exactly that this game.
Yeah, he is still a bit behind on this farm, though. I mean, he still has the Shadow Blade and the Threads, the same items that he had 10 minutes ago, I feel. So, needs to get something more. He's sitting on 1k gold, but it's not just enough. And at the same time, he has to let Tommy farm, he has to let Night Stalker farm. So, we'll see if he can get himself something extra here, as he's actually looking to find someone. He has to be careful, though. Dendy still has that gem. And he's the one on the front lines for Na'Vi at the moment. The ping comes out, they realize he might be there. It is nighttime though, so they didn't have actual vision there. And Menace, they have to tread so carefully here, because they're really on a balance right now. I mean, they have been able to make a bit of a comeback. The gold graph going from almost 12k to almost 9k in favor of Na'Vi still, but at least it drops a bit back. Experience graph drops a lot more back, so it does look like Menace. I mean, that fight just now did pay off for quite a lot, but they have to make sure that they can get more than that, and that they can fight again like that, and they can hold on as long as they did again, with allowing Na'Vi to throw everything at them. I have to point out though, the black hole of course was a whiff, so maybe with the black hole working out as intended, Na'Vi would get more out of their fights. But there's a lot of pressure on Menace to make sure that they orchestrate team fights so that they can actually wait out until Na'Vi is done with theirs, so that they can start their own.
Yeah, and this is probably the hardest part of the game for Menace at this point. They've got the rank 2 darkness up in the Night Stalker. Oh, poor Sifla.
Yeah, he's able to TP himself out though.
No bash from Havost.
One familiar.
Not the bash lord today.
No.
Apparently.
One familiar is all they get
yeah.
for that.
Yeah. So, Na'Vi, I mean, they've got one tower left to take. Menace have a little bit of an opportunity to maybe take a fight with Darkness, but not having nighttime at the moment makes their options a little bit limited. Roshan's 2 minutes away, so we'll probably see that come into play relatively soon, but Na'Vi are just kind of on the hunt right now, forcing all the lanes out. And again, they've still got the very clear advantage as far as teamfights are concerned, so Menace need to pull something special. If it's smoking 2 heroes around the back of the fight to try and pincer Na'Vi so that they can't take such an organized team fight, if it's doing a little bit of split pushing to try and get a pick off that way, they need to do something a little bit different, and I think not take Na'Vi in the head-on 5v5.
Yeah, because that's not gonna end well, I think, either. So
Yeah.
basically, it is all about getting control of the map and knowing where Na'Vi is to not be there, and that brings me to a point where there's actually only one ward up on the map, and it's a sentry ward that's almost vanishing. Both teams, no wards, and of course that can be contributed to the gem of Na'Vi. I mean, that's why Menace might not have wards, but Na'Vi themselves not having wards of their own, which is quite surprising, to be fair. Even though Lapizzi has been carrying sentries around, who now actually picks up a Gem of True Set as well, so even if Na'Vi is going to be placing some wards, he'll have some issues where he'll be able to counter them at least. But yeah, control for the map is something that is very important in this game. We do have control for Roche Pit setting up already for Na'Vi, because Roshan is going to be up again in a minute or so, and a bit less even. And that might be the one thing that Menace need to maybe get themselves a bit of extra favor in this game, get themselves some extra bit of control. Same thing goes for Na'Vi though, because with an Aegis they potentially could go for high ground.
Yeah, if they get that Aegis, that's probably it. Funix now got himself an Aghanim Scepter. He's doing very well in terms of levels. Na'Vi have just continued to outstrip Menace in terms of farm. I mean, Menace have actually managed to equalize things a little bit. We've stayed steady at around 10k, the difference. For a little while now, Tommy's almost got a Deso, so there's still bits and pieces being collected around the place for the Menace side, but again, something needs to go their way in a big way, you know, before Na'Vi just go tier 2 Roshan tier 3s or Roshan tier 2, whatever the sequencing is going to be. The game plan's pretty straightforward from them at this point, and Menace needs to do something to throw a spanner in the works. Let's see what they can actually get done.
Well,
Nobody's split pushing top.
Yeah, and this is a free tier 2 for Na'Vi. Dendi actually not believing it. He blinks away straight away, thinking, you know, maybe it's a trap. But no trap, free gold.
Maybe there's a song.
Yeah, but there could be. Could be Naga Siren though. I think she wants to save her song for the Roche fight. Or at least to take a fight that they can win, that they can take Roche after. Dendi though, more harassment coming in. Face shifting the swarm. In the meantime, Poppy laying them some harassment in mid. He's got his BKB up now as well, 10-second BKB. For the next fight, Aghanims for Funnick. I mean, all these items, they're more and more starting to get complete, and on both teams. More so on Na'Vi, since they're of course ahead in gold, so ahead in items. I still think it's not going to be about the items. It's going to be mostly about the decision making, who goes in when. And is the black hole going to hit people?
Yeah,
Are the BKBs going to be wasted?
Is Puppy secretly PGG?
Yeah.
This will... Yeah. In fairness, a PGG black hole is either all 5 or 0, so...
Maybe we'll get lucky with the next one.
There's always that.
I mean...
Roll the bones.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like, the vacuum inside the black hole, it's still there. Kinetic field, the setup is there. Na'Vi hasn't been able to do it just yet, as the familiars, yeah, I was gonna say, getting harassed away. We haven't seen that perfect wombo combo just not yet from Na'Vi, but we'll see. Perhaps next fight, they're pressuring mid somehow.
And they've got a Hex up on Dendi now as well, which helps to completely negate, I guess, one of the BKBs if Menace aren't really being on point.
Oh, they go on Sifla. Just for now, static field actually used for that. Dendi jumps himself in. Down goes the Naga. BKB turned on by Spin, but it doesn't look to be enough. He runs through the green coil. Doesn't matter. Goes down. No black hole needed. 2 pickoffs for Na'Vi for free as the gem is on the floor. Nobody cares. In comes a blink black hole from Poppy. This time he hits on 2. The 2 cores of Menace. One already dead. The other one pounces towards the fountain. Poppy still goes down, but as does Siflan. The only one that lives is the one that pounced away, which is of course Norty on this Slark. That's gonna be Poppy buying back the only one that died, and that is gonna be a tower. Tier 3 tower, fortification will go off, doesn't really matter. I think they're gonna get this tower, maybe even get the Rex and then go to Roche. They're looking pretty solid here, I would say. 12k gold in their favor. Naga's back up though, has got a song of course. Perhaps that's gonna be enough. Pounds upon the Kuroki. Norty still got a glimpse back, but it's actually helping him out after killing off Disruptor. And that's gonna be Rex staying alive for Menace for a little while longer. In comes a song of those They find, well, who are they gonna go for? Oh, Hex up straight away. The song gets cancelled. Murty is turning into a Piglet. Vacuum back in. That's gonna be one Slark dead. Silenced up. Lapiz will be next. Trying to run. Won't be able to. Dendy dominating. And that's for sure Rax. Perhaps even another bird here as Sifla gets opened up and gets killed off as well. Familiars will live for a little while longer. One gets picked off. The other one, no, they'll let him fly. They're already back towards the Rax. Tommy, Malefice has to turn on his BKB for the Malefice to wear off. And Spin actually looking for a target, but Mechanism for Na'Vi is up. And they're looking still pretty strong. I wouldn't actually blame them for turning around to fight again, although their mana pool is looking slightly low. Oh, now Havos, even though he's having no HP, he comes back because he has got an Abyssal. In comes Hex up on Tommy. Spin. Abyssal, waiting for it. It actually goes off on Tommy. No time left for him. He drops Spin with his BKB. He can only rock around like a headless chicken. I mean, there's nobody there to do damage to him. I mean, he doesn't even do damage, to be fair. He doesn't really do that much. It's not enough. They get the Rex for free. Na'Vi back out because they want to, and they actually are looking to go rotate bottom. Glim's back, Spin. Kinetic field there as well. Lapiz comes in as well. It's not going to be enough, though. They have to back themselves. They can't fight. It's just that simple. They don't have a song. They don't have the Slark. They can't fight. They don't have the damage.
Yeah, and they just keep trickling into the fight. Things were looking okay once they went for the defense with 3 of their heroes dead, but since then they just kept on trickling, and it keeps on going badly.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they walked up that way, because Spin just got himself killed. Slark got himself killed as well. Mega kill streaks for both of those, and Dendy. We have got Sifla getting bashed and killed off here by a Vos. Double kill for him. Glim's back on the Naga Siren, who goes down as well. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a GG come out. There we go. Na'Vi, convincing win in the end. Menace, they had a plan. It was a nice plan, and with Niwerti on his Slark, they had actually a shot at it at some point, I think, but it wasn't enough. And they end up going down here, losing a point to Na'Vi.
Yeah, but kudos to Menace, and I think, again, Nordy played a fantastic Slark this game. Lanes didn't really work out the best for Menace, didn't really get that much early pressure on, and I guess Na'Vi, knowing that they could get away with the Enigma getting a bunch of farm, it didn't really matter what kind of game Kuro had, and to a large extent, you know, Havost wasn't super relevant in the early game, but he got a recovery Midas around 10 minutes and a little bit later and just sort of went from there. So Na'Vi very well executed. Menace, up until the last 5 minutes, things were looking alright. There was maybe a chance to turn things around, but yeah, they just kept one by one into that fight, and that sort of ended up ending the game for them.
Indeed, and of course we're going to jump ourselves to the next game of Starladder, Quantic versus Empire. I believe this should be our highlight of today, because this might just be the match that decides who goes to Kiev and who doesn't. One of these two teams will go down to 4 losses today, and that's going to be putting him in 5th position, where you don't want to be, because you want to be in the top 4 to go to Kiev. Stick around for another game of Dota. Skip, how are you looking on time and on sleep deprivedness?
Well, I mean, it's 5:15, but if this is the title match,
this should be
for today, then I feel like I should probably stick around. So
awesome.
I feel like you've convinced me. It's probably a terrible idea, but yeah, I'll be around for next game.
Cool. We're gonna jump ourselves right into that because we're still slightly behind on schedule. Stick around for Quantic vs Empire. We'll be right there.